Before she became a name people whispered in fear. Before her footsteps emptied the market square. Before gold and guards followed her. Prophetess Adora was just Adora. There are some stories that elders do not tell children at night. Not because the children are too young, but because the truth in the story is too heavy. This is one of such stories. It is not a story of ghosts or of witches flying at night. It is a story about power. And how easily people mistake power for God. This is the story of Prophetess Adora of Ajelu. She was born into suffering. Not the loud suffering that attracts pity, but the quiet one that eats a person from the inside. She was the last child of a tired family. A family where food finished before evening. Where school fees were a prayer point. Where her mother sold vegetables until her back bent forward. Adora was intelligent. But intelligence alone does not feed a poor home. Many times, she almost dropped out of school. Sometimes, she would sit in class and watch other children eat, pretending not to be hungry. She promised herself something very early in life. I will not suffer like this forever. Getting into the university was not easy. She worked. She begged. She prayed. When she finally entered the university, it felt like escape. But even there, suffering followed her. She could not afford most things. She was mocked for her clothes. She was ignored. So she turned to prayer. Not casual prayer. Prayer that shakes walls. Prayer that makes people uncomfortable. She prayed early in the morning. She prayed late at night. She believed God would notice her. After graduation, when life still did not improve, Adora found a place to pray. Behind a primary school in Ajelu. It was quiet. Hidden. Lonely. She prayed there every day. At first, nobody noticed her. Then people started hearing her voice. She prayed like someone fighting for her life. Slowly, 2 people joined her. Then 3. Then 5. Teachers complained. The headmistress once went there herself and said, "Madam, reduce your prayer. This is a school." But Adora did not reduce anything. If anything, she became louder. For a long time, nothing happened. No miracles. No testimonies. People mocked her. Some said, "Everywhere church. No power." Some said, "She is just shouting." But Adora did not stop. She fasted for days. She prayed through the night. She cried. She wanted growth. She wanted power. She wanted to be seen. And that was when everything changed. One night, during a long prayer, when the church was empty and the candles were almost burnt out, Adora felt a presence. She opened her eyes. An old woman stood at the back of the church. Nobody saw her enter. Nobody heard her walk. Her eyes were too bright for the darkness. The woman smiled and said, "You will never get money like this." Adora froze. The woman continued, "But I can help you." That night, Adora made a choice. A choice she would later regret. Weeks later, on a market day, a man collapsed. People screamed. Women cried. Someone said, "He is gone." Adora was passing. She stopped. She looked at the man. She did not rush. She did not panic. She said calmly, "Let me pray." People laughed. But she prayed. She spoke words nobody understood. The man stood up. The market went mad. From that day, Ajelu changed forever. People rushed to her church. Offerings increased. Testimonies multiplied. They moved from behind the school to a small flat, then to a large piece of land. Soon, a beautiful church stood there. People traveled from other towns. from other states. They called her Woman of Fire, Power Carrier, Mother in Israel. But behind the altar, something else was growing. At first, nothing was obvious. Nothing that could make people sit down and say, something is wrong. At first, it was only small things. Things people brushed aside. Things people explained away. They said, death happens. People fall sick. God gives and God takes. So nobody talked. But then, things began to happen. Things that, one by one, refused to be ignored. The first person was a man named Jude. Jude was not an enemy of the church. He was not a stranger. He was a devoted man. A deacon. He opened the church every morning. He cleaned the altar. He arranged the chairs. He fasted when fasting was called. People trusted Jude. Then one day, Jude had a disagreement with prophetess Adora. Nobody knows exactly what was said. Some said Jude questioned the use of money. Some said he asked why certain prayers were done only at night. Some said he complained that the prophetess shouted at his wife. Whatever it was, Adora became angry. Very angry. She told Jude, in front of people, if you don't like what God is doing here, you can leave. Jude left. 1 week later, Jude fell sick. At first, it was small. Headache. Fever. Then it became worse. He could not stand. He could not eat. Within days, Jude died. People shook their heads. They said, it is sad. And life continued. The second was Sister Chioma. Chioma was loud in praise. Always dancing. Always shouting amen. One Sunday, Adora rebuked her during service. She said Chioma had a rebellious spirit. She told her not to return. Chioma cried and begged. Adora did not change her mind. Chioma stopped coming. 2 weeks later, Chioma collapsed in her house. She did not wake up. This time, people whispered. But quietly. Then there was a man from outside Ajelu. A blogger. He heard the stories. He wrote about them. He said people were dying after leaving the church. He mocked prophetess Adora online. Days later, the man fell sick. Boils covered his body. They burst. Maggots crawled out. People watched in horror. He died screaming. Now, people were afraid. Then came the woman in the market. A known gossip. She laughed and said, who does this Adora think she is? That same day, rain fell. Lightning struck an electric pole. The wire snapped. It touched her. She died instantly. The market went silent. After that, nobody joked. Nobody whispered. Market women changed topic when her name came up. People greeted her from afar. They respected her. But it was not love. It was fear. Every Christmas, prophetess Adora shared gifts. Rice. Oil. Money. People collected them. Then quietly threw them away. Because they noticed something. Anyone she helped prospered quickly. Then slowly collapsed. Businesses rose. Then fell. People kept quiet. So when she walked into the market that day, people stepped aside. All except one man. And that was when everything ended. Then it happened. On one fateful day. A day that did not announce itself with thunder or omens. A day that looked like every other market day in Ajelu. The sun was high. The market was noisy. Women shouted prices. Children ran between stalls. Goats bleated. And prophetess Adora came out. As she always did. She walked through the market square slowly, deliberately, parading herself the way a queen parades a conquered land. Her clothes were loud and expensive. Her wig sat perfectly on her head. Gold jewelry shone on her neck, her wrists, her fingers. Her shoes did not touch the ground like other people's shoes. They announced her presence. Behind her walked her guards. Big men. Silent men. Men who cleared the way before she arrived. As soon as people saw her, they moved. Stalls were pulled back. Baskets were shifted. People stepped aside. No one wanted trouble. No one wanted to be noticed. But on this day, as Adora walked, she saw something that made her step slow. Ahead of her, walking calmly in the opposite direction, was a man. Alone. He did not rush. He did not look away. He did not change his path. He walked straight toward her. Adora's eyes narrowed. In her heart, rage rose. Who is this insolent man? Who dares walk in the path of the great prophetess of Ajelu? She lifted her hand sharply. One of her guards hurried forward. Tell him to move, she said. Tell him a god is coming. Tell him a goddess is passing. The guard ran. People watched. Whispers rose. The guard returned. But his face had changed. He looked confused. He looked shaken. Adora snapped. What did he say? The guard swallowed. He said, the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. He said he will not clear the way for any man, unless the Lord himself commands him. The market went quiet. Adora's face twisted. Oh, shouted. So I have met a madman today. She stepped forward and screamed. You wretched man. You will not live to see the end of this day. The man stopped walking. He turned. He looked at her. His eyes were calm. His voice was steady. In the name of Jesus Christ, he said. The one I serve. Whatever you have spoken over my head, it shall return to you 100-fold. He turned to walk away. And then, Adora screamed. Not in anger. In pain. She clutched her chest. It felt as though fire ran from her heart to her head, down her spine, through her legs. She convulsed. She fell. Her headscarf slipped off. People gasped. Some screamed. From beneath the scarf, 2 long horns were revealed. Real. Undeniable. Her guards ran. People scattered. No one wanted to be close. Adora screamed again. She looked up. And then she saw him. A huge man. Tall. Armored. Holding a long cane. He raised it. He struck her. Again. And again. She rolled on the ground, screaming. She began to confess. As the huge man struck her again, Adora screamed. I will talk. Please. I will talk. The market froze. Even the wind seemed to stop. She crawled on the ground, her fine clothes now torn and dirty. Her voice changed. It was no longer the voice people heard on the altar. It was thin. Broken. Afraid. She cried out. It did not start like this. People leaned in. She raised her head and spoke. When my church was small, Adora said. When I prayed and nothing happened. When people mocked me. Her voice shook. One night. Behind the primary school. After a long vigil. She swallowed hard. I saw a woman. People murmured. She was old, Adora continued. But her eyes were young. Too young. She asked me why I was wasting my time praying to a God that was not answering me. Gasps rippled through the crowd. She told me she could help me grow. She said power does not come from noise. Adora began to cry. She told me to follow her. Her fingers dug into the dust. We walked at night. Through bush paths. Through silence. She paused. Until we reached a burial ground. The market erupted in whispers. She told me to lie there, Adora said, her voice barely above a whisper. Among the dead. She said if I wanted power, I must learn to sleep with death. People cried out. I stayed there for 3 days. No food. No water. Her body trembled. On the 3rd night. Something came. She screamed. Not human. Not animal. A being rose from the ground. She covered her face. That was when my life changed. Adora beat her chest. She gave me power. But not free. She said every gift must be repaid. She said my altar must never be empty. People began to shout and cry. Under my church, Adora confessed. There is a long snake. Her voice broke. Very old. Very hungry. Every offering you brought. Money, food, sacrifice. It was not for God. She screamed. It was fed to the snake. Pandemonium broke out. Adora lifted her hands. I know I killed them. Silence fell like death itself. Jude. He questioned me. I released him. Sister Chioma. She danced too much. I marked her. The blogger. He spoke. I sent sickness. Mama Mecca. She laughed. I pointed. She sobbed uncontrollably. I did it all. People screamed. Some fainted. Some ran. Some fell on their knees. The armored man struck her one final time. Adora stiffened. Her body went still. Her eyes stared into nothing. Prophetess Adora of Ajelo was dead. No one spoke. No one moved. That market never returned to normal. Until today, elders warn. Do not follow signs alone. Test the spirit. Not every altar belongs to God.